Hi everyone, this is Joyce Fernandez, feeling the best I have felt in a long time. I know my last couple of videos, I was telling you how I didn't feel well, and you can still hear it in my voice, especially when I give you feedback back on your presentations. Come to find out, I was struggling with RSV, did not even know it. Thought I might have an upper respiratory infection, thought I even might have had a sinus infection, and finally I got tested. Now I know there are students, and I will keep your confidentiality in this class, that have struggled with RSV, COVID, the flu, pneumonia, and sometimes all at the same time. When I first heard that you could have multiple conditions at the same time, I was so heartbroken. I thought, how do you recover? I had one, RSV, and it took me, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks to get through it. And I'm older, and that's the thing. And when I would say to my doctor, well, what's the average life expectancy of this? He said, well, some people, it's like a cold. They're over it in 3 to 8 days, but over 65, it could take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. I'm like, what? And I'm just now feeling better. I'm trying not to overdo it, but I can feel it in me. I'm back. I've got my Zaza back. Before I felt like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. I was so tired. So I'm glad you're here. I want you to say that the final word presentation, it's not too late. I had 8 students who delivered theirs. I kept it open because I really want to see your final word presentation, but I really want you to see the others. They were genuinely over the top great. The delivery is right on, and I hope everyone keeps working at their oral communication skills, because just like written communication, we're always practicing, but you get a confidence in knowing you can do this. And if you leave this class knowing you can do this, that you are a public speaker, then you have been successful. Then you've worked the course, and you've got as much out of this course as anybody in a face-to-face course would, if not more. I think there's something more about doing the videos that puts the bar up higher as far as anxiety and organizing your skills and having a good intro, body, conclusion, looking at the camera, knowing the audience is right there. You don't get that immediate feedback, but there's something about the delivery that is actually incredibly powerful. If you can do these speeches, you can transfer those skills into face-to-face and find it a lot easier. So far, we have heard from, Chelsea, who was talking about this class and how much she enjoyed the entire thing, how she felt like she grew. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like gold to me. And then Rebecca, who we know loves animals, and she talked about therapy animals, specifically dogs. You'll want to hear that one. And then Matthew, you're going to love it, because he's like, why do I have to take all these classes for anyway? And he made mention in his beginning of his speech that he came late to college, and I said to him, he looks like he's a teenager, like 16, 17 at the most, so I don't know how late he was, but how frustrating it is to have to take a math class when you're not a math major, etc. And I think you all can understand that. And I gave Matthew my teacher speech. Well, it's developing your brain, and it's so you exercise those brain cells so you can transfer them to something that you really want to do someday, so that you're not rusty and you can be trained. And that's what I really do believe. And then Alec talked about the Taylor Swift debacle with the tickets. And it was so genuine for Alec to talk about this. You could tell he cared. What beautiful delivery. What beautiful delivery of Chelsea and of Rebecca, of Matthew as well. That's what I'm looking for, And these, all 8 students who have presented for Final Word have hit it out of the park. But Alec, I said to Alec, not that he wants to hear this, but I'm a big Taylor Swift fan too. And how Taylor Swift transcends the generations, because my daughter, who's 35, she loves Taylor Swift, and my granddaughter, who's 6, she loves Taylor Swift. So if you can go to a 6-year-old, a 35-year-old, and a 67-year-old, that's why she's a superstar. But what happened with those tickets is just heartbreaking. And then Lindsay spoke about something so near and dear to my heart, about grandparents, her grandmother and her grandfather, and the care of the elderly in her family, and how much they were part of her family, and just a natural extension of the love in her family, and how genuinely happy she was to get to know her grandmother and now her grandfather without resentment. We're all going to get older someday. I'm a grandmother now, and my 6-year-old, I have a hard time walking. I have MS, and sometimes I have a hard time with stability. I use a cane or a walking stick, and when I'm going up and down stairs, I get like discombobulated. And my 6-year-old granddaughter always takes my hand and helps me down, and we have a good laugh, because otherwise I'm pretty healthy, but not on that. And my granddaughter's been helping me for a couple of years now, and she seems to like it. My daughter says, Mom, she likes helping you. So thank God, right? Thank God. Thank God for family. And then Elizabeth made me cry because she was talking about her relationship with a shelter dog, Bear, and how much Bear has meant to her life and her family's life, and how he's genuinely in her heart. And she does a nice timeline about Bear. We even get to see Bear in some photos, and it was such a sincere presentation on Elizabeth's part, and her eye contact and her delivery was like unbelievably great. And so I think it's a privilege when I hear a student talk about something so sacred to them. And Paola spoke about how much she felt the course has helped her too, and I was like, yay, go Paola. But it's because you did the work. Chelsea said the same thing, but it's because Chelsea did the work. Paola did the work. You all did the work. If you got something out of this class, it's because you put something into this class. That's the only way it works. And then Sean, who changed his scenery, he was in his work shed, and he talked about something so important, especially the holidays, right? Texting and driving. How as much as we haven't heard a lot of news stories about it lately, it doesn't mean that it's okay. And some people get complacent, and how important it is to be very mindful when you're driving to stay alert. He mentioned how even a sneeze can divert your attention off the road, and that is so true. So here we are. We have 8 students who've done the final word, and I want more too. So I've opened it up. It's open. So from now, in maybe the next week or two, please get yours in. Even if it's late, I will accept it. I know that more than one person in this class wrote to me because they're sick. And like I mentioned, RSV before. Students in this class, some of them have had RSV and COVID and pneumonia and the flu all at the same time. I don't know how a body can take this. I don't know. I'm drinking lots of water. I wasn't eating at all for a while, and I was losing so much weight. And now I'm eating more and trying to keep wellness in my mind. But it's hard. These viral infections are hard. When you have COVID, maybe you'll go on Paxlovid or whatever that drug is, and you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. So do that. I'm looking at our course right now, so I'm going to look over here. And I did put up the final exam. And you might say, already? I'm like, yeah. Your final speech is this final word speech, so that's it. And then you'll do the journal, which will be in, let me see, what week is the journal in? Maybe next week. Sometimes I put things in funky places. In my mind, it makes sense, but, you know, that's the thing of having a teacher. Like, I see it my way, and you see it your way. Like, why'd she do that? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it made sense at the time. So here we are. This speech here, the final word, is in week 11. Yeah, it was week 11, so you can put it there. And then in week 12, which is this week, Thanksgiving week, I have the journal for the final word. So you have to put a final word in to see the other, so you can do the journal. You know how that works. And that discussion board is about interpersonal communication, which is really the first step of oral communication. Well, first it's in our own heads, our intrapersonal thoughts, right? Our relationship with ourselves. And then with 1 or 2 people, small groups, right? Which you just went through in Thanksgiving and coming into Christmas, those conversations, and then public speaking. So please watch that with Celine Fitzgerald. I think she does a good job. And then that's week 12. And then week 13, which is our final week to do work, the discussion board is by Bridget Sampson, and she says how public speaking will change your life. Well, you know, I think so. But you're all public speakers, so you've always been public speakers. I don't create a public speaker and a student, but I help try to get up the best of them so they can see it, and you can develop your skills as you move forward from this class. So that's a good one. That's our last discussion board, and that's in week 13, which is just November 28th to December 4th. And yes, the final exam is up, and you'll see it. It says week 14, and it's the final exam. So first you'll see is the hard copy, the handout for it, which I think I've sent before, and then the 2 choices. You can answer the final exam. There's 3 different parts. Either just like we've been doing on VoiceThread, you can do a 3 to 5 minute VoiceThread to answer your final exam, and you are done. And the only one who gets to see it is me. There's no student gallery for this, so it's private. It's just for you. It's just the 2 of us. And then, or if you want to write it out, and you absolutely may write it out. There's not going to be any benefit from grade-wise if you speak, but I do know in public speaking class, sometimes students really do like to keep their oral communication skills going. So that's why I say I'm fine with it. Now, if this was a face-to-face class, everyone would be writing it. So as you look at the final exam questions, I say there's 3 parts. The first one is to review a discussion board, a video from the discussion board that you particularly connected to, and just like you did with your posts, but make it a little bit bigger. So say, okay, I'm going to speak about the Amy Cuddy, or I'm going to talk about Julian Treasure, and then you're going to do, it's like almost like a free writing review of it, you know, what you would think of it, like why you picked it, something you got out of it, something made sense to you, like what maybe is a takeaway for you that you'll remember this video, and maybe you've even used it in some of your other parts of your life. So 1 video review. It could be 2 too. I had a student in another class said, could he do 3 videos? Like, sure, as long as it's at least 2 or 3 good paragraphs, not just one little post, but a little bit longer. So that's part 1. Part 2 would be to select a student in our class, someone you've done a journal entry for, or maybe even someone you haven't done a journal entry for. But it's like a journal entry where you're going to say, I've been watching Lindsay, I've been watching Paola, I've been watching Sean, I've been watching Jackie, and this is what I've noticed about this speaker. So you're going to do a review. Now, don't forget, your peers are never going to see this. Just like in your journals, it's just between the 2 of us. So you speak on that and do that in like a little, like 2 to 3 paragraphs about that, or maybe a minute if it was oral. And then the last is self-reflection, which I know is the hardest piece for most of us, especially if we're not used to this. But if you listen to the final word, and you listen to Paola, and you listen to Chelsea, they did self-reflection. Yeah, they're talking about the class, what they got out of it, how it's helped them. Chelsea even looked at the student learning outcomes and said, I did do this, and this. So she was very specific. It was excellent. So if you have no idea how to do that piece, right, listen to Chelsea and Paola because they did it. And Chelsea and Paola, you've already done it for your final word, do it again. But you can do even verbatim of what you said. So you're either going to do an oral response to your final exam, 3 parts, right? 1, 2, 3, 3 to 5 minutes, or a written, 3 pages, right? 1, 2, 3. Sometimes I'll say how many paragraphs because students want to know. And when I was in school, I remember my teacher saying, until you've answered the question, but how do you know? So that's why I like to be more specific so you don't feel like you're in the dark. So that's it. So that we have, I think, 2 more discussion boards. No more videos unless you're still going to do your final word, which I hope you do, and then do the journal for that, and then the final exam. So I open the final exam now because I know some people are ready to do it. And I don't know how you do your time management, especially at the end of the semester. Christmas semester, even if you do not celebrate Christmas, can be really hectic. Retail jobs and just expectations of people. Let's go out for a drink. Let's go do this. And all of a sudden, there's all these distractions. You got work to do. So if you can get this final done at a time that makes more sense for you. December 16th is the absolute last day for everything. It's a hard stop. And my grades will start to go in on the 17th and 18th. And then we're all done. It's so sad. I know. I start to get weepy-eyed when I think about it as I'm watching the final presentations. Like, are you just kidding? That's the last time I'm going to see Paola, the last time I'm going to see Alec, the last time I'm going to see Sean, or the last time I'm going to see Lindsay, or Elizabeth, or Matthew, or Rebecca, or Chelsea. Like, no, that can't be true. I feel like you've been in my class in face-to-face. And it's so funny. I had a teacher the other day said, oh, I see you're going to teach another asynchronous next semester. Don't you want to do face-to-face? I said, I like both. I absolutely like both. And when I retire, and that will be soon, I'm going to transition from full-time to part-time, right? I'm going to ask for all asynchronous because there's just something so beautiful of seeing Sean in his woodshed, like in a natural setting, or, and to see like Rebecca just blossom as she talked about her animals, and that you can bring us into different settings, and hopefully you're comfortable where you're doing your videos. This is my first day back to my office in 2 weeks. Because I had that RSV, I did not have any face-to-face classes for 2 weeks. I was so sick. Let me think. one of the Mondays, I woke up, had no idea why I was so sick. So when I hear others in our class tell me how sick they are, I would believe you anyway. But I remember being so sick with this virus, feeling panicky, like, am I ever going to be well again? And then I had lost weight, and they called me malnourished, and I'm not. I'm Polish. I'm not malnourished. I got a lot of meat on me. They said, no, you're not eating real. So I've been consciously eating more protein, more good vegetables, more and more and more and more that I didn't even want to have before. So a lot of this is our own responsibility, but I am so lucky to have a job. I can take 2 weeks off. I could take 2 weeks. I kept in touch with all my students through Zoom and through just like, like emails back and forth. So I was with the students, all their assignments, but I wasn't in the classroom. How lucky am I, right? So be careful. Wear your mask in public. If you start to feel a little like sore throat or cough or anything, just don't think it's nothing. It could develop into an upper respiratory. Could develop into anything, right? I'm going to cough. See, it's still in there, but I'm feeling much better. All right, everyone. I probably will talk to you again before the end of the semester. I can't imagine this is my last video to you, but I'm always glad to speak with you because you give me so much pleasure. You really do. And don't forget, it's open for the other students to put in their final word, and I really want to hear your final word, and I want to see what you say in your journals, and then the final exam. Hard stop, December 16th. Today, as I speak, is November 26th, so it sounds like, oh, we got weeks to do that, but you know and I know how quickly time goes by as a student, so think of what you can do and get done as much as you can before you have deadlines in your other topics, other disciplines. I say I'm better, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm back to wherever Joyce Fernandes is supposed to be back. Oh my God. I told my daughter the other day, I said, I'm just a little loopy. She said, well, how could I tell the difference? You're always loopy. And that's my daughter. All right, everyone's at Roger Williams Zoo today, tonight they're going to enjoy the Christmas lights, and I'm not going because I still have this. And I did Thanksgiving over Zoom. I didn't go to Thanksgiving dinner. I just couldn't because, I felt I was still infectious. But I did get 2 negatives. I did get tested again for RSV, and 2 days in a row I got negatives, and my doctor said, no, you're good now. You're good. You're better than you think you are. But I'm still going to wear my mask. I don't know where it is, but I'm still wearing it, and I'm not going to spit on anyone. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, but I will talk to you again, and thank you so much for being in this class. See, this is the thing. When I see your videos over and again, you're in me. You're in my heart. You're in my mind. And don't be surprised if we're out somewhere in public, at the mall. I would like to say at a Taylor Swift concert, but I don't think I'm ever going again to one of those. I've been to them before. Incredibly fun. But anyway, years ago, I went with my daughter when she was a teenager, and it was like, oh my God, here we are sharing together something so fun. We loved going to concerts together, and that's the one thing she would do to me is she'd go to concerts with me, and she'd go to New York City with me to see Broadway shows. Because I would go, and we'd have a good time. All right, I'm going to be somewhere where you least expect it, on BCC campus or in a mall, and Stop and Shop or Shaw's or Market Basket, and I'm going to see you, and I'm just going to say, hi, Rebecca. I'm going to say, hi, Lindsay. Hi, Viola. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Caroline. And you're going to say, who is this crazy woman? And I'll say, Joyce Fernandes, Bristol Community College, and I'll say, oh, yeah. You were my public speaking teacher. I was like, I'm pretty lucky. All right. Enjoy everything. I will talk to you again soon.